Hey guys, it's Annie from Manor Farms Homestead. I wanted to give you an update today on potato planting. If you watched my last video, I had planted Irish cobbler potatoes and had mentioned that I had several other varieties coming in, that I had the beds ready to go. I was just waiting on the seed potatoes to arrive. Unfortunately, that order has been delayed from that particular company. When I checked online yesterday, it looked like ship date had been moved to the end of March. Here in East Central Alabama, it will be way too hot to be trying to plant potatoes in early April. They really won't do anything. We won't get any significant crop out of that. So I had to go to plan B. And I had my beds ready, so it was a decision between just planting other spring crops versus going to the grocery store and buying some organic potatoes and planting them. So I ultimately decided to try the organic potatoes, and the plan is just to kind of do a comparison of how they grow compared to the seed potatoes. So let's show you the actual beds. This is Yukon Gold organic potatoes, and I got organic potatoes because they are not sprayed with a sprout inhibitor. Most of your potatoes in the store are, because they're looking at shelf life, not plantability and growability. So I'm going to get these buried about 6 inches deep in just a minute. I'm breathing kind of hard because I hoed out that little row. This box I put red potatoes. Now these were organic red potatoes. They really weren't labeled with a specific type. They look like New Orleans to me. And we're going to compare these at the end of the season with how they've done on production compared to our seed potatoes. Now, unfortunately, we have more than one variable in this experiment. So ideally, you would only be comparing apples and apples, but in this case our seed potatoes were planted in early February, actually February 12th, and then today is March the 4th, so about a 3-week difference on when they're planted, so that will probably have some sort of impact. Also, for my seed potatoes, I cut them up to make them go further. And they're a lot more expensive than grocery store potatoes. So I wasn't as concerned about cutting up my grocery store potatoes due to the cost difference. And I wanted to go ahead and get them in the ground today because I'm running out of time to really get these in the ground and have a good potato crop. So instead of cutting these and allowing them to sit 3 days and heal over and get hard so they won't rot when they're put in the ground, I decided just to put them in whole. So there will be a difference in planting whole potatoes versus cut up potatoes, and seed potatoes versus grocery store potatoes, in addition to the time difference. So that's it for today. We're going to get them buried, get them in the ground, and I'll keep you updated throughout the season so we can compare the outcome of seed potatoes versus store-bought potatoes. One other note on planting store-bought potatoes versus seed potatoes. And this is probably the biggest reason they tell you not to plant store-bought potatoes, that you should always go with seed potatoes. And that's the risk of disease. Seed potatoes are typically certified disease-free, whereas your grocery store potatoes, not necessarily. I picked out some really healthy looking potatoes. I'm not too worried about disease. They are planted in raised beds, so it's not like they're going into my in-ground garden. So we'll keep an eye on that, but that's one of the downsides to planting store-bought potatoes versus seed potatoes. In a crunch, that's what we're doing, so we'll keep track of this experiment and see how it goes. All right, today's potato harvesting day. It is May 22nd, and while our potatoes could probably go another couple of weeks, it's getting really hot, and I'm afraid if I leave them much longer, I'll end up with ants in them. Here in this area, we have trouble with fire ants. So we're going to be comparing the potatoes that I planted mid-February. If you go back to my original potato planting video, I planted those on February 12th. They got hit by a little frost in early March, but ended up coming back and doing really well. So I'm going to flash in some pictures here on the video to show you them in full bloom. They looked fantastic. These were the seed potatoes that I planted, the Irish cobbler potatoes. So we're going to compare those to the grocery store potatoes that I bought in early March. I planted those the first week of March, and that's earlier on this video where I was getting those in the ground. So we can compare organic grocery store bought potatoes with actual seed potatoes. And again, a little variation in the time that they were planted. Alright, they're starting to turn yellow a little bit. They're starting to die back. That's how you know your potatoes are about ready to harvest. Get this plant here. Oh, those are some very nice potatoes. You want to bring the box over here and we'll start over here, Nick? Are you getting big potatoes over there?
Yeah, pretty big.
Yeah, these are huge for Alabama Irish potatoes. We're going to compost all of the tops to our potato plants.
No, mine weren't as big as that over
So
there.
I got 5 really nice big potatoes off of that plant, but I haven't dug around to see what's under it. Probably have a little bit more in here. Yeah. These are all really nice little potatoes. Mm-hmm. These are really nice, pretty potatoes. One of the things about doing them in raised beds, you have less trouble with ants getting in there and biting your potatoes and leaving defects in them. And they tend to grow a little bit more uniformly since the soil is a little bit lighter than if you plant them directly into the hard ground. So this little bed is a 3 by 5.5 or 3 by 5 bed. So we'll see how much we get off of these little beds. Some of these are kind of small, but those are actually, the skin is so nice on these, you just wash them and cook them whole, bite size.
You said that they can't eat this? Okay.
No, they're in the nightshade family. So the leaves on potato plants and tomato plants and eggplants are poisonous.
of worms.
It's good. Fertile soil. Or you're seeing grubs.
No, I saw
Grubs
earthworms.
are not good.
Earthworms.
Grubs
Over
will
here.
eat the roots. Grubs can go to the chickens.
That's a lot of potatoes for this one bed.
The potatoes are in really good shape. Not a lot of defects, not a lot of imperfections in them. So I'm really happy with how they look. So we'll get this bed prepped and planted with some summertime crops. We have pulled a couple of plants out of here before just for some sweet potatoes for like Mother's Day. So this is minus a couple of plants from the original planting. I need to weigh this.
It's a lot.
So I'm going to show you our box of potatoes.
Where do you want me to dump this?
So this is our box of potatoes from one bed. So we'll get the other one harvested, and then we'll show you the red potatoes and the Yukon Gold potatoes. All right, here is the final haul on the two 3x5 beds of the Irish cobbler potatoes. These were certified seed potatoes. I had a total of 5 pounds that went into these two beds, and then I had 3/4 of one other bed that we did harvest early because I needed the bed to get some summer stuff into. So we have not weighed these yet, but we will, and see what we got from our seed potatoes. We're moving on now to the red potatoes. Okay, so these were red potatoes, organic red potatoes that I got at Walmart. No particular name on them. Probably,
Small.
they're small.
Yeah.
I mean, these could probably go a little longer. If these all look small, we may leave these a little bit longer. Oh no, I've got some decent sized ones
I
over
mean, I
here.
got a few decent ones, but most of them are small.
We'll just do right here at this end. They're looking really small. These plants are still in pretty good shape. So, and they were planted about 3 weeks later than the other ones. So I think they're ready now.
Okay.
Because we're starting to get some insect damage on some of them.
Perfect size for a crawfish boil.
A lot of them per plant, just kind of small. a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, right whenever I think I got them all, I dig further, there's more.
I actually think what I thought was damaged, this may be the original potato that was planted. I'll have to look at those closer later. Yeah, I think this is the original potato. Maybe it looks different, but I don't see the plant coming off of it. I honestly think that I could have done a better job of watering these. The dirt's pretty dry down here towards lower in the bottom of the bed.
That was the original plant. It's all
Okay.
rotten.
Yeah. Yeah, these are ready to come up because a lot of the potatoes are actually sprouting little roots. Well, not a lot of them, but some of them. It's getting hot out here.
Almost too hot for your Craig. I did this yesterday.
Did what?
Was outside all day. Soaking wet.
So that's the bad thing about Alabama heat. Not only is it hot, it's humid hot, which makes it even worse. I got sweat dripping down my chin now. And I don't sweat. And it is,
Look at that.
what time is
Look
it?
at that big one. 10.
We got some beautiful worms. Good soil. Get all these little ones out too, because those sprout from potatoes and we don't want to do that.
That was the original one. I just pulled it off.
Yeah.
And it's rotten.
So these potatoes from earlier in the video were planted whole instead of sliced up into pieces to plant too. That was another difference. And the only reason I did that was because I needed to get them in the ground sooner than later, because it had gotten late in the season for planting potatoes here. Here's the original whole potato. So even though the first beds got hit by frost, these were planted later and did not get hit by the frost. I think so far it's looking like the first beds did better as far as giving us. These gave us a lot of potatoes, but they're small.
These are all little Elizabeth-sized dinners.
I mean, they're fine. All you have to do is wash them, pull them, or anything, and just roast them. However you want to cook them. Probably roasting would be best for these little baby potatoes. I'm really curious to see the Yukon Golds. Those plants didn't look like they did as well in general. They didn't look as healthy. They got really scraggly.
Which one's that? The one behind me?
The one behind us. That's probably the biggest red potato we've gotten. The fun thing about potatoes or carrots or any kind of root vegetable is you don't know what you've got until you dig it up. Okay, and last but not least, we got a couple of russet potato plants. I stuck these in here over winter, just experimenting with them. Oh, is that a wasp? That went right by my finger. Just, they died back multiple times with the frost. I don't imagine they're not the right kind of potatoes for here. But they had sprouted in my pantry, so I just stuck them in the ground. Just experimenting a little bit.
Oh, there's a big one. No, no. Look.
No, well, we got the end of, no, is that, something ate the end off of that one. I suppose that might be
Might be the one you planted.
With the leaf, no, it would be definitely rotted by now. We got a few of them. There's one over there by the strawberries over there too. So I would say very poor return. Little bitty kind of knotty potatoes off of 2 plants. I'm gonna dig around with my little fork. The soil is pretty packed in there.
Any more luck?
I'm using my, it's really packed in here. So I'm using my fork. Oh, that's my tumor that has never sprouted. There's a little root on it. Need to put that back in there. Oh, I see one that is sprouted down here.
What, a tumor?
Yeah. Get this one back in the ground. Got a couple of them that I accidentally dug up, apparently. Hunting for potatoes. Another potato. So yeah.
Was that big one the one that you planted?
I'm wondering if it was. It doesn't look.
Because it's really big.
But it doesn't look withered like. Anyway, lots of worms in here too. And so apparently my turmeric is trying to come up. That's good. I see one right here that's sprouted. All right, we got one other potato over there. So I'd say they did pretty equally as well. The red potatoes were a little smaller, but I think that might just be a genetically smaller potato. Look at that bird eating the dog food out of the pan.
They do that all the time.
Didn't see a lot of difference in planting them earlier versus later and harvesting them at the same time. So next year we'll probably shoot for late February, early March on our potato planting time, and then I think the grocery store potatoes did really well, but if you want specific type potatoes, probably a seed potato is your best route. All right, here's our final haul on the potatoes. We did not actually weigh these because our box broke, but our wheelbarrow was full of potatoes, and that's estimated to hold, from what I read, 30 kilograms, which would be 66 pounds. So from 14 pounds of seed potatoes, this is about 66 pounds of potatoes. We have one other box of potatoes where we harvested 3/4 of a bed a little bit earlier. So not too bad on a season of potatoes. Some of the garlic that we harvested today, and a few of the onions that we still have curing. That's it for the potato video. So my final decision on planting different types of potatoes, I will probably still use seed potatoes for some of the varieties that you cannot get at the grocery store. Particularly next year I want to plant some Kennebecks, so I'll get seed potatoes for those. I'll probably do the Irish cobbler potatoes again. They turn out really, really nice and taste really good as well. I don't know that I'll do the store-bought red potatoes again. We got lots of them, but lots of small ones. I don't have a problem with how the Yukon Golds turned out, but I think if we had planted them a little bit earlier, like the Irish cobbler potatoes, mid-February, they may have gotten a little bit more size on them. So next year, I'll do a variety of different types of potatoes, and I will continue to plant mid-February instead of the first week of March.